Okay, number 1. The diagram below shows an instrument used in weather forecasting. We've seen this before. This was in, I believe, last week's quiz. This instrument measures atmospheric what? What 2 can we knock right off?
B and A.
Perfect. Get rid of A and B. So this instrument measures pressure or temperature. Number 2. And as you guys know, we won't do this for each question, but here we go. Number 2. A cross-section of a weather front is shown below. So it shows us the direction of movement, clouds. Which symbol would be used to represent this front on a weather map? Continental polar, so we know that that's cold, right? And the maritime tropical. And on your reference table, you've got at the very bottom on page 13, you've got all the front symbols.
Do they want, which one?
Which one would be the direction? Which symbol would represent this front on a weather map? So where that long solid black line is, what would that solid black line look like? Okay. And you can, are we good with that one?
Yes.
Okay, number 3. It says here, it gives us a map below which shows high pressure center and a low pressure center with 2 fronts. Which map best shows the most probable areas of precipitation associated with those weather systems? So you kind of have to know what the pointed ones are and what the lumps are, correct? So use your best judgment. Are you good with that one? And just, do you see the picture of the key where it shows precipitation?
Yeah.
Where it's in the blue?
Mm-hmm.
Just which letter would have precipitation, the H or the L?
L.
The L. And why, Kylie?
Because that's
What kind of weather is rainy weather? Is it happy weather or lousy weather?
lousy.
Lousy weather. So that should help you with that. So which 2 can we get rid of right off the bat?
B and B.
Perfect. We would get rid of D and B. Alrighty. Number 4. The properties of an air mass are mostly determined by what? The rate of the Earth's rotation, the direction of Earth's surface wind, the source region where that air mass formed, the path the air mass follows along a land surface. Which 2 can we get rid of?
C and D.
I would definitely get rid of the properties of an air mass are mostly determined by, has nothing to do with Earth's rotation. Okay? So, and it really has nothing, it's not A or B. Number 5. Which weather variable would most likely decrease ahead of an approaching storm system? What would decrease ahead of an approaching storm system? Make your best judgment on that. Something would decrease. Definitely would not be cloud cover, right?
I would say it's not C or D.
Okay. Are you guys good with that one? All right, number 6. This map is a portion of eastern North America. It shows a high pressure center and a low pressure center, frontal boundaries, and present weather conditions. All right, which weather condition is shown along the cold front. So you find the cold front. If you can't remember what the cold front looks like, it's right there on page 13. So what is along that cold front? And so you have to figure out, what do those symbols represent? Is it fog, snow, haze, or thunderstorms?
Well, don't the boss just need a lane? That's not an option.
Ahead of the, I know. But
Oh, I see it now.
okay, I can't give you any more really hints on that one. Are you good? Number 7. The winds shift from the southwest to northwest as heavy rains and hail begin to fall in Albany, New York. This is kind of like the one that he asked you yesterday during class. These changes are most likely caused by the arrival of what? The winds shift from southwest to northwest as heavy rains and hail begin to fall in Albany. What would cause that? Caused by the arrival of what? Number 8. This map below shows the boundary between two air masses. The arrows show the direction in which that boundary is moving. Which weather map uses the correct weather front symbol to illustrate that information? Maritime tropical to the continental polar. Number 9. Let's see. This map shows sea level air pressure in millibars for a portion of eastern coast of North America. Sea level air pressures. What's our question? The air pressure recorded at point D was most likely what? If you look at your numbers, you've got 1,000, 1,004, 1,008, 1,012 is the next line, right? So what would be the most likely line that goes in between? Are you guys good? All right, number 10. Which station model shows an air temperature of 75? So take a peek on page 13, the station model explanation, and a barometric pressure of 996.3 millibars. So the easiest way, I would say, is to find where your temperature is, so we can get rid of what two? A.
And C.
Perfect. We're getting rid of A and C. So it's either B or D. And what's our rule of thumb when we convert it? We drop the decimal and take the what?
The last-
Perfect. The last 3 numbers. Okay. Number 10. This shows a portion of the United States. Represents a frontal boundary between two air masses. Okay. Which symbol correctly represents the frontal boundary at A, B? It's continental polar. It's definitely not C, right? It's kind of a silly one. Continental polar. Number 12. Is everybody good with that one? Are you good, Luce? All right, the surface winds in a typical northern hemisphere high pressure system are generally moving what? What 2 can we get rid of?
C and D. A and B.
Perfect, Kylie. We get rid of A and B. High pressure is clockwise, and so then you kind of have to know whether it goes in or out. So it's either C or D. Number 13. Which geographic region is the most common source region for MT air masses that move into New York State? Okay. What two can we get rid of, Kylie?
A and C.
Perfect. Get rid of A and C. We're looking for maritime tropical, so it's either B or D. Number 14. This table below shows air pressure readings taken at 2 cities in the same region of the U.S. at noon on 4 different days. The wind speed in the region between cities A and B was probably the greatest at noon on what day? One, two, three, or 4. Number 5. A map view of surface air movement in a low pressure system is shown. Ooh, that kind of gave you the answer to what was that? Number 12. If you weren't 100% sure with 12, number 15 can kind of help you out. A map view of a surface air movement in a low pressure system is shown. The air near the center of this low pressure system usually will do what? So we know it's going in and we know it's counterclockwise. So is it going to evaporate into a liquid? Is it going to reverse direction, rise and form clouds, or squeeze together to form a high pressure system? What two can we get rid of?
A and B.
Perfect. A and B, get rid of them. So it's either C or D. Number 16. Which map best represents the surface wind pattern associated with high pressure and low pressure systems? So we kind of just figured that out with low is lousy, and that picture basically gave you that. So I'm not going to give you any hints on that one. Do your best with that one. Okay, are we good? Number 17, are you good, Luce? Okay, what are we doing here? Number 17, isobars are labeled in millibars, and these are locations on Earth's surface. Which map shows the most likely path that this low pressure center will follow during the next 12 hours? As we know, anything from the west comes to the east, right? So let's see, that low pressure system. What two can we get rid of?
I was thinking, C and D.
Low pressure system. Do your best on that one. Number 18. Okay, it says here, this is a lot of reading. The L indicates the center of the low pressure system, and a few New York cities are shown. You've got symbols represent different air masses, and the wind direction at Utica and Rochester is shown on the station models. Okay, so if this weather system is following a normal storm track, which we all know what it does, the center of this low is most likely moving towards which city? We did this yesterday, I believe. We can get rid of A,
C. Yeah, I'm sorry.
get rid of A, right? and get rid of B. So you're either C or D. Number 19. Are you good, Luce? Which cross-section best represents a cold front? Make your best judgment with that. Number 20. Because if we know anything about fronts, it's when two things what? They collide, right? Right. They collide. So it's definitely not D, and it's definitely not B, okay? Number 20. Which geographic area is a common source region for continental polar air masses that move into New York State? I remember him asking you guys this over and over and over and over. What two can we get rid of, Kylie? Perfect. Get rid of A and get rid of C. So we're looking for continental polar. Okay, submit that. Nice. All right, let's go to the part 2. Okay, let's see here. Base your answers to the following questions on this weather map, which shows two fronts associated with a low pressure system. Okay.
Does it say what those two are?
What's that?
Does it say what those two are?
I think they just want you, it looks like on this map, they just want you to write the letter L at the location of the center of that low pressure system. I'm just trying to remember, like he's got that thing up on the board. It's up there every day. Try to think of where that L would go and plant it right on there. Are you good? Are you okay, Kylie? You got it on there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It says, and on this weather map, write the air mass symbols to indicate the most likely location of the continental polar air mass and the maritime tropical air mass that have formed that low pressure system. So you're going to look for a CP and an MT. Where would you put each one of those? Okay?
Just do it on the map?
And just do it right up on the map. Put your, and I believe it is it a lowercase c and an uppercase P? Put that where that belongs, and then your lowercase m and your uppercase T as to where that would belong that formed that low pressure system. Can you get it on there? And it lets you, I'm sure, right? And actually, if you look at number 3, kind of tells you right where the L goes if you're not 100% sure, because they told you basically where that L is. What?
So they have it right.
Awesome. All right, let's see what number 3 wants us to do. It's got an L represents the center of a low pressure system. Two fronts extend from the center of the low. The forecast for one city located on the map is given below. Okay, so it's saying in the next hour, skies will become cloud covered. Heavy rains are expected with possible lightning and thunder. Temperatures will become much cooler. State the name of the city for which this forecast was given. So it's basically saying it's heading in that direction. Which one of those cities is going to have in the next hour, fairly close, cloud covered skies and heavy rains? Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4. Let's look at the question. It says, a frontal boundary exists between locations B and C. I see B and I see C. They're fairly close. Identify one process that causes clouds to form in the moist air rising along that frontal boundary. What causes clouds to form? Something about a pressure system. What would cause clouds to form in that moist air rise? And if you're on number 5, using those standard 2-letter air mass symbols from your reference table, label those air masses by writing in the correct symbol in each one of those circles on the map. And they're all right there on page 13.
How do we know which way,
Like wherever the bubble is, that's where you're looking at it. Okay? Like I'm going to tell you, like number 1 is clearly over an ocean, right?
Yeah.
So we know right off the bat. Okay? We know it has something to do with water. And if it's over a continent, then we know it's dry, so it's some type of a continental. Was this on one of your practice questions yesterday at all? This? No? Okay. All right. And I believe that's the last question for that. Okay. Have a great day.